Have you ever opened a can of tuna, paused for a second, and thought, is this safe to eat? It's a common pantry staple, a quick and easy source of protein. We trust it. But what if I told you that lurking within some of these seemingly harmless cans could be one of the most potent toxins known to science? This isn't a scare tactic. It's a very real, though rare, concern. Today, we're diving deep into the world of canned food safety, specifically focusing on a recent crisis involving canned tuna and Clostridium botulinum, a terrifying bacterium. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand the risks, but also know exactly how to protect yourself and your family. So, what exactly happened? News recently broke about a significant recall of canned tuna from a major brand. Several batches were found to be contaminated, leading to a handful of confirmed cases of botulism. For those who aren't familiar, botulism is a severe and potentially fatal illness. The public response was immediate: panic, confusion, and a flood of questions. Social media was buzzing with people vowing to never eat canned tuna again. Grocery stores pulled products from their shelves. It was a full-blown food safety crisis that shook consumer confidence to its core. The culprit behind this panic is a bacterium called Clostridium botulinum. This little organism is actually quite common in nature. You can find it in soil, water, and even on the surfaces of fruits and vegetables. In its natural state, it's mostly harmless. The real trouble begins when it finds itself in a specific type of environment, one that is low in oxygen, low in acid, and at a certain temperature range. Does that environment sound familiar? It should. It perfectly describes the inside of a sealed can. Here's the science bit, but stick with me. It's fascinating. When Clostridium botulinum finds itself in these ideal, oxygen-free conditions, it starts to produce spores. Think of these spores as tiny, highly resistant survival pods. Under the right warmth and conditions, these spores germinate and begin to multiply. And as they do, they produce a neurotoxin. This is the botulinum toxin, the most potent poison known to humankind. To put it in perspective, a single gram of this crystalline toxin is enough to be lethal to over 1 million people. The canning process was invented specifically to prevent this kind of spoilage. Commercial canning involves heating the food to extremely high temperatures under high pressure. This process is designed to kill any bacteria and their spores, including Clostridium botulinum. The can is then hermetically sealed, creating a vacuum that prevents any new bacteria from getting in. When this process is done correctly, the food inside is preserved and safe to eat for years. So, what goes wrong? How does this toxin end up in a can of tuna? The breakdown almost always happens due to a failure in the commercial canning process. This could be for a few reasons. Maybe the food wasn't heated to a high enough temperature or for a long enough time, allowing some of those tough little spores to survive. Or perhaps there was a tiny microscopic flaw in the can's seal. A dent, a bulge, or a bit of rust could compromise the integrity of the can, allowing oxygen levels to change or new bacteria to enter after the sterilization process. In the recent tuna incident, investigations pointed towards an equipment malfunction at a processing plant, which led to underprocessing of several batches. This brings us to the most critical part, recognizing the signs of botulism. The botulinum toxin is a neurotoxin, which means it attacks your nervous system. Early symptoms can be subtle and might be mistaken for other illnesses. They typically appear between 12 to 36 hours after consuming contaminated food, but they can start as early as 6 hours or as late as 10 days. The initial signs often include fatigue, weakness, and dizziness. This is quickly followed by blurred or double vision, drooping eyelids, slurred speech, and difficulty swallowing. It's often described as a descending paralysis. The weakness starts in the head and neck and moves down the body. As the toxin spreads, it can paralyze the muscles that control breathing, which is what makes botulism a life-threatening medical emergency. If you or anyone you know experiences these symptoms, especially after eating canned food, you must seek immediate medical attention. It's not something to wait and see about. The good news is that while botulism is incredibly serious, it is also treatable, especially with early diagnosis. Treatment involves administering an antitoxin that can neutralize the toxin circulating in your blood, preventing it from doing more damage. However, the antitoxin can't reverse the paralysis that has already occurred. That recovery is a long, slow process, often requiring months of hospitalization and rehabilitative therapy as the nerve endings regrow. This is why prevention and early detection are absolutely key. So, how can you, as a consumer, protect yourself? You are your own best line of defense. The first rule of canned food safety is to inspect the can. Never ever use food from a can that is dented, especially along the seams, bulging, leaking, or rusted. A bulging can is a major red flag, as it can indicate that gas is being produced by bacteria inside. If you press on the lid and it pops or makes a sound, that's another bad sign. When you open the can, be aware of your senses. Does it spurt liquid? Is there a foul or off odor? Does the food look discolored or foamy? If anything seems even slightly off, your motto should be, when in doubt, throw it out. Do not taste it to check. Even a minuscule amount of the botulinum toxin can be fatal. Wrap the can securely in a plastic bag and dispose of it in a way that children or pets can't get to it. Then, wash your hands thoroughly. It's also important to note that the botulinum toxin is heat sensitive. Boiling food for 10 minutes can destroy the toxin itself, though it won't kill the spores. This is more relevant for home canning, where achieving commercial level temperatures is difficult. For commercially canned goods like tuna, which are usually eaten cold, this heating step isn't practical, which makes visual inspection even more crucial. Now, I know all of this sounds scary, and it's easy to feel like you should swear off all canned goods forever. But it's important to keep things in perspective. The food industry, especially in developed countries, has incredibly strict safety regulations and quality control measures. Because of this, botulism from commercially canned food is extremely rare. The recent tuna crisis was a significant event precisely because it is so unusual. Millions upon millions of cans are produced and consumed safely every single day. The system, for the most part, works very well. The recall and the subsequent public health response are actually evidence of the system working. The problem was identified, the source was traced, the product was recalled, and the public was informed. These safety nets are in place to protect us. It's a reminder that while no system is perfect, there are multiple layers of protection between the processing plant and your pantry. So, should you stop eating canned tuna? That's a personal choice. But a more informed approach is not to eliminate a food group out of fear, but to become a more vigilant consumer. Understand the risks, know the warning signs, and practice safe food handling. Always check your cans before you buy them and before you open them. Stay informed about food recalls by checking resources like the FDA or your local health department's website. Being a savvy consumer is your best defense against any foodborne illness, not just botulism. In conclusion, the canned tuna crisis was a stark reminder that we should never take our food safety for granted. Clostridium botulinum is a formidable threat, but knowledge is our most powerful weapon against it. By understanding how it thrives, how it gets into our food, and how to spot the danger signs, we can continue to enjoy the convenience and nutrition of canned foods, including tuna, with confidence. Remember to inspect, inspect, inspect. Trust your senses. And when in doubt, throw it out. Your health is worth more than the cost of a can of tuna. Thank you for watching and taking the time to learn about this important topic. If you found this information helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family. The more people who know how to stay safe, the better. And for more deep dives into real-world issues, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Stay safe and see you next time.